Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Food is Good. And today we're going to take a trip to Bologna. Not actually, but food-wise we are. We're going to be making a classic Bolognese sauce with a southern twist to it. So you're definitely going to enjoy it. We're going to pair that with our famous cheddar biscuits, but I've done something a little different. Instead of making it cheddar, we've done Parmesan, added a little bacon to it, replaced the parsley or some of the parsley with Italian seasoning. So you're definitely going to love it, and finishing it off with a Caesar salad. We're going to show you how to make our homemade famous Caesar dressing. So definitely going to love it. Get ready. It's going to be great. Welcome back, guys. Now, like I said, we're going to be taking a small trip or large trip to Bologna because we're going to be making a Bolognese sauce. And the great thing about a Bolognese sauce, I grew up in the South in Mobile, Alabama. We were always ate spaghetti. So I would, if there was I guess spaghetti and Bolognese sauce, close cousins, that's what we'll call it. Now, what makes a Bolognese sauce so different is that with the Bolognese sauce, you're actually going to add in pancetta, ground pork, ground beef, and a little white wine. Now, I know what you're thinking. White wine and beef? Hey, that's the way they do it. I think some of the recipes may say red wine, but the original recipe was white wine. But instead of doing the white wine, we're actually going to substitute it for a little apple cider vinegar. So that's what we're going to put in this one. So the first thing we want to do is go ahead and get a little olive oil in our Dutch oven here. Got that in there. And now we're going to chop up some two cloves of garlic here. Simple way to do this. I'm going to move this to the side right here. Simple way to do this. We're just going to do it like that. Smash it right here. And then we're going to peel this paper off of it. And we're just going to start chopping up the garlic. Probably chopped it a little bit too hard there because it really smashed it. So right here. I'll tell you what, let's try this again. Not as hard, right? And it comes right off if you don't, try to smash it that hard. So easier to peel. Guys, you see the real thing here. It ain't, sometimes, like I said, sometimes cooking is not pretty, but it always should taste good. So we're just going to take this right here, put this to the side here, and we're just going to chop some garlic up. Chop the garlic up. My skillet's getting hot over there, or my Dutch oven is getting hot over there. So we're going to mince this up really fine. Keep those fingers back, This right here. This sauce is really good. It's real popular also because you can do a lot of different things to it. We're going to actually add portobello mushrooms to our sauce, which is going to make it really good. Right here, some diced onions here. Now we don't need this whole half an onion, but I'm going to peel some of it off the side here. We're going to do about a fourth of that onion. And real simple, when you're doing your onions, if you cut it a certain way, you don't have to do all that chopping. Right here. I'm going to add some onions to it. Right here. Just throw this to the side here. Get this in here. You don't want that garlic to burn though, so keep an eye on it. Right here. So we're going to start letting this cook. Probably 3-4 minutes. Let it get translucent. I'm going to clear off some of this stuff off my cutting board here. Right here, just throw it back over there. So while that's cooking, I'm going to go ahead and start chopping up some of my mushrooms. Right here. Get these mushrooms in there. This sauce has a lot of flavor to it. Takes a minute to cook though. So actually once we get it going to a certain point, we're gonna put the lid on it and let it do its thing for about 45 minutes. Slow and low. Right here. Those onions are almost getting there. Chop these up. Get them all about the same size, kind of uniform. You want them to finish up about the same time too. But in 45 minutes, I think it'll all be done. So we're gonna get this in there. Get this right here. Okay. Got that going. Stir it up right here. Now what I am gonna do, this recipe actually calls for bacon. So over in Italy, they use pancetta. Over here, we're going to use bacon. So I actually have some bacon here. I'm going to cheat, guys. I'm going to add some bacon here that's already been cooked up. It's pre-cooked. Not going to use all of it because, like I said, those biscuits that I'm going to make, the Parmesan Italian bacon biscuits, it's going to be the bomb. So we're going to get this in there. Now I am going to add a little bit more oil to it because if I was frying this bacon from start to finish, the bacon's going to release a little oil or grease rather. So I added a little bit in there kind of to compensate for not frying my bacon. But you can still get that same flavor. I can smell it right now. So it's smelling really, really good. So while that's doing this thing, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about the tomatoes. I am using these brand of tomatoes right here from Publix. Really good tomatoes here. Actually, if you're going to do any kind of dish like this, you want to use these type of tomatoes because they're really, really good. Okay, so I'm going to stir it a little bit more. And you don't drain any of the grease off of it because that's where your flavor's at. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and add my tomatoes in here. Now, like I said, this is going to take about 40 minutes to cook. So I'm going to go ahead and get this going. Little twist to it, guys. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my sauce right. Once it gets to go in here, I'm going to put it to the side over there, ground up my beef, drain some of the fat off the beef. Now, I know I said earlier that you don't drain any of the liquids, but I still don't like a sauce with a lot of grease floating in it. So I'm going to take the liberty, drain off the grease, add the beef to this, and let it finish doing this thing. So now we got this in there. We're going to add a little tomato paste to it. Right here. It's a really nice smell to it. Okay. I'll let it cook just a little right here. So you can smell the aroma coming off of it. So we got our bacon in there. We have our tomatoes in there, tomato paste in there, onions, and garlic in here. So we'll let it cook. We're going to add some spices to this. Okay. So guys, what I'm doing now is I'm going to go ahead and grab my basil and my oregano to add to my seasoning. But I'm going to go ahead and drop my pasta in my water right here. So what the first thing I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and salt that pasta. We're going to salt the pasta. Let's go here. Kind of be killing two birds with one stone. You got to be pretty good to kill two birds with one stone. But it's a saying that I grew up hearing my whole life. But you think about that for a second. You got to be pretty good. So we got this pasta in here cooking. Right here. Just throw this to the side. Now, like I said, I'm going to grab my basil and my oregano, and I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of basil to this and 1 tablespoon of oregano to this. And then I'm going to sit it over there and let it do its thing because it needs to simmer and cook. And I'll start on my ground beef. So, basil, oregano, and then basil. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stir this up. Actually turn it down before I start wearing this right here. Turn it way down. I'm gonna go ahead and add my lid to this, because you will be wearing this. So I'm gonna put this here, let it simmer for a while. And I'm gonna go and start on my ground beef. Right here. Put in 2 pounds of ground beef. And like I said, some of the recipes say ground beef and ground pork. 1 pound of ground beef, 1 pound of ground pork. I'm just gonna put in 2 ground beef. That math seems right to me. So do this, get this out the way. Or over to the side, rather. I remember growing up, my mom would always say, don't reach over something, because if you reach over it, you're gonna knock it over. You know how true that is? I even tell my kids to this day, don't reach, move it out the way. So while this is getting hot right here, I'm gonna go ahead and grab the ground beef. So we have 2 pounds of ground beef right here. Actually, this is about ready. I can put it in there. Get this out the way. And now we're just gonna let it stir up. I'm gonna go ahead and add a little salt to it. A little salt. And a little black pepper to it. Like I said, you can, typically when you're doing this dish right here, it's not the end of the world if you add your ground beef to your sauce. But once your beef releases all the fat that's on it, it's gonna float. So I didn't want that. So we mixed it up just a little. So we're just gonna let it cook. And while it's cooking, I'm gonna check on my pasta. When pasta's cooking, you wanna make sure you stir the pasta up or break it up, or if not, you're gonna get one clump of pasta together, and now you're trying to separate it and do all that. So I'm just gonna stir it as it goes. Make sure it's broken up. Back in the days, I used to add a little oil to it. The oil works, but it don't really work, because if you want your sauce to stick to your pasta, it's not gonna happen if you have oil on it. So back in the days, I used to do it. I don't recommend doing it. It will prevent your pasta from sticking together, but it's also gonna prevent your sauce from sticking to your pasta, which is what you want. Okay. So while this is all broken up and cooking, I'm gonna turn it down just a little right there. This is working. This is simmering right here. Come back over here and check out my ground beef. You can see all the liquid, the grease that's coming off of it. And the mess that I'm making right here. Let me grab a towel. I can kind of wipe it up as I go. I was talking to my daughter, and she was telling me, Dad, you know, you can actually work with a cast iron on this induction cooker that you have. She tells me a lot of stuff that makes sense, so I'm like, hey, then let's start doing it. Because in the past, I would have cooked this over on the stove. But if you have an induction, you can cook with your stainless steel and your cast iron. So this beef is coming together. And while this is coming together, I'm just gonna go ahead and clean up my area over here, and I'll be right back. Hey guys, so now what I'm gonna do is, the beef is already cooked, about 85% of the way. I've already drained it. I'm gonna go ahead and add it to my sauce over there. And like I said, over in Bologna, they use white wine. I'm gonna use apple cider vinegar. If we were actually using white wine, we would have had to put it in there a lot sooner. But with the apple cider vinegar, you can put it in there at the end. It's not gonna hurt anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this over here, put that to the side, add my beef to this, add my beef to it, give it a quick little stir. I'm gonna go ahead and add my apple cider vinegar to it. Now, like I said, if you want to add white wine to it, you can do that. If you want to add red wine, you can do that also. Stir it up. It's smelling really good. Smelling good. Now, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go ahead and give it a little taste. just to see if I need to add more salt and pepper to it. It's got plenty of garlic already now. You know, I do need to add a little bit more salt to it. I probably should have gave it a little longer before I tasted it because I did taste the vinegar. So I'm gonna let that cook a little, but I'm gonna add a little salt to it. A little bit more salt to it. Definitely don't want to over salt it. Add a little black pepper to it. Most recipes say salt and pepper to taste. So that's what we're doing. Go ahead and stir it up some more. It's looking good though. It's looking really good. It's right here. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and get this out the way. Go ahead and turn my pasta off. Let it sit here for a quick second. I don't want it to overcook. With your pasta, you want to cook that pasta where it's al dente. So kind of to the tooth. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is drain it real quick. So go ahead and drain my pasta. Sit this here. I'm going to put this pasta right here. So I guess I'll just sit that pasta right there. It's actually done. So now what we're going to do is I went ahead and took the liberty and started mixing up my biscuit recipe. And it's the same one I've done before, my garlic cheese biscuit recipe. So we've already got the butter mixed in with the baking powder and the all-purpose flour, a little salt. Because if you're using all-purpose flour, you want to add a little salt to it. Not too much, because you're going to pick up some saltiness with the Parmesan, and you're going to pick up a little of it with the cheddar cheese and the bacon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do this here. I'm going to go ahead and add in some Parmesan. Go ahead and add in a little bacon, or be truthful, I can add in all the bacon. We're pretty much done. All the bacon here. I'm also going to cut a little fresh parsley here. Just to put it in there, right here, make it a little finer. Guys, when you're making spaghetti sauce or Bolognese sauce, sometimes you're gonna wear it. It's all good though, all good. So I'm gonna go ahead and add this to that. Add in my milk, little cheddar cheese. Not a whole lot, because the cheddar is not the star of the dish. The bacon, the Parmesan, and the Italian seasoning is. And I went ahead and added the Italian seasoning to it. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go ahead and stir that up, because we got to get these things in the oven. Now, when you're cooking biscuits, sometimes you can use parchment paper. And if you use parchment paper, they're not going to spread. But if you spray the pan, they will spread a little, but they'll also be a little crispy. And sometimes you like that little crisp on the bottom of your biscuit. I know I do. So we got these mixed in right here. Looks like I may need to add a little bit more milk to that, so that's what I'm going to do. Guys, and if you didn't know, we get a lot of our products from Publix. Really the best place to go, I think. So I'm going to add this in there. They're very consistent in their product. The customer service is amazing there. So, you know, I like going there. So we got these biscuits right here already mixed in. Get that off the spoon. I'm going to go ahead and grab a pan down below. I'm going to add a little oil to my pan. Just a little olive oil. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a scoop and I'm going to scoop those up and get those on here. This is always fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spread this out just a little. My oven's already set to 375. Depending on your oven, and you know your oven, the recipe calls for 425, but depending on the oven you're cooking in, you may want to turn that down just a little. I'd much rather have them cook a little longer than to have it up too high and they burn. So I'm going to go ahead and scoop these out. Keep an eye on my sauce over there. Right here, scoop these. They're looking good. I can definitely see the bacon in there. My wife loves bacon. I can take it or leave it. But, you know, definitely down south, bacon adds a lot of flavor to a lot of dishes. Thus, we've used it in 2 of our dishes today. So, if you like bacon, you're going to love this stuff today. So, make a little extra here. And I'm going to do one more scoop right here. Go ahead and get this in the oven, 15 minutes on 375. So while those are cooking, I'm going to go ahead and tidy this up a little, come right back, show you how to knock out that Caesar dressing, and then we're going to bring it all together. See you in a second. The sauce is coming along. I've been stirring it. It's smelling definitely really good. Sauce is thickening up. That means the water and everything, the liquid is starting to evaporate. Sauce is getting a little bit more condensed. Flavors are intensifying. That's what you want. We're going to let it cook a little bit longer. Then we're going to go ahead and add our fettuccine pasta to our sauce, because you want that sauce and that fettuccine to come together. Next thing we're going to do is I'm going to take a peek at my biscuits. They're starting to rise, light and fluffy, and that's what you're looking for. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to talk about our Caesar dressing right here. It's just a really classic Caesar dressing, very light, consists of about 5 components: Worcestershire sauce, lemon juice, Dijon mustard, olive oil, and Parmesan. Really simple. Put it all together, whisk it up, and that's what we did. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. So guess I'll use this big spatula right here. And we kind of emulsify that olive oil and that mustard together. So it's going to make it a little thick. So what you do is that add a little cracked black pepper to that also. And what we're going to do is we're just going to pour it on top of our salad dress, on top of our lettuce here. And when you're pouring it on top of it, always start around the edges right here, and you can kind of work the dressing into the lettuce. And that's exactly what we're going to do. If you pour it in the middle, sometimes you can weigh the salad down with your dressing, and you don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour it around the edges right here. And I'm going to pour less than I think I need, because I can always add more. Caesar salad is a really classic salad, really light, until you add the croutons in there, right? So I'm going to add a little bit more, right around the edges, like I said. Looks really good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add my croutons to it. That little crunch to it right here. Add some Parmesan, a little bit more Parmesan to it, just as a garnish. And some cracked black pepper. Any of these recipes that we're talking about, you can definitely find it in the cookbook that we have coming out. So this is right here. It's looking really good. I'm just going to set it to the side. Move this out the way. And when we come back, I'm going to pull it all together. You're going to love it. See you in a second. So guys, like I said, we have our salad over here working. I want to get ready to serve it pretty quickly, because that salad dressing will start to weigh down that lettuce. I went ahead and took the pasta, mixed it in with my Bolognese sauce, so the pasta and the Bolognese can start marrying, getting together, all that good stuff. It's looking really good right here. You know, didn't want to put that pasta in there too soon, because I didn't want it to overcook. Go ahead and check on my garlic cheese biscuits or my Italian bacon Parmesan biscuits, really, which is just our garlic cheese biscuit recipe that we took a liberty to alternate it just a little. So we're going to pull this out. These are definitely what you're looking for. Nice light brown on them. I'm going to put them right over here, actually. Let them cool off just a little. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to start putting my Bolognese. Go ahead and do that. So get this right here. Like I said, I've already mixed in my sauce and my pasta. So let's pull it out like this. get my scratch my my tongs right here. Looks good, guys. And this is what you want it to look like. Sauce and the pasta all mixed in together. Very filling dish. Got that bacon in it, sausage in it, portobello mushrooms in it. I'll put a little bit more on here. I think this has to be my wife's second favorite dish right here. So I'll put it here. Get this out the way here. Clean it up just a little. Right here. Garlic cheese biscuits. Go ahead and get those on the pan. A little hot here. Not too hot. Nice and soft. Got a little of a crust on the outside of it. Real soft and moist on the inside. That's what you're looking for. So we got this right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and plate it up. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and start putting this dish together. This pasta here. Looks good. Not too much sauce. I think it looks really good there. Took a couple of biscuits and put here. And last but not least, got to get some salad dressing, some salad. So I need to do this here. And we'll do this here. And now, the fun part. We get to taste it. I've learned not to put it in your mouth when it's very hot. That can be a problem. Let's taste this. It's really good. Good. The biscuits are really good. Soft on the inside. Just what you want in cheddar biscuits. Try the salad here. Oh, is that homemade Cesar dressing? Good. Light. Refreshing. So guys, I'm gonna finish eating this up right here. Well, like I say every week, food is good, God is great, and every day is a blessing. See you next week.